Alright, so by now, I'm sure all the gamers already know, and most of the world by now, knows about the new Elden Ring DLC and all the controversy that's been going around about this game. You know, people are saying that the game's too hard, this like way too challenging, why is the DLC, scaling way higher than the base game, stuff like that. But the real question that everyone's been wondering is the DLC really just that hard, or do you suck at video games? Now, I've been playing video games for a long time. And I'll be honest with you guys, every single time I see a Souls-like game come out, I'm always on the fence of getting it or not. I'm like, do I want to waste $70 to buy this new game? Am I even going to finish it? How long am I going to play it? You know, I'm sure we've all debated this. Now I buy the game, and then I play it for a little bit, I get really far into it, and then I either just forget about the game, or a new game comes out and I just stop playing it altogether. A good example of that is Demon's Souls. And when that first came out for the PS5, the remake of it, I played it for like 2 days and then I stopped. And I realized why I hated Demon's Souls in the first place. But I can get to these other Souls-like games pretty easily, like the most recent one that I played, which was Stellar Blade. And now I'm also playing through Liza P. And it's like, yes, the games are challenging, but they're not too challenging. And this is with putting in all the mechanics into account as well, because there are things that make the game easier for you to help you get through the game. It's up to you if you want to use that or not. And it's the same thing for Elden Rings. You know, every single one of these games have that easy mechanic to help you, get further into the game. And if you decide not to use it, yeah, it's going to be more challenging. But it doesn't make it difficult, and it doesn't make the game to the point where it's unbeatable, because you have access to all of these things. You just have to use it. And others would argue that if you're using summons in Elden Rings, you suck at the game. You're just playing it on easy mode. But to be honest, Elden Rings is still one of the easiest Souls-like games out. So, and that's even without using summons. And then you have Liza P, which is what I'm currently playing through. And they have sectors, specters, whatever they're called, they have summons that you can summon to help you with the game. And they tend to make the game a little bit easier, because I realized with the first boss fight, you're fighting on your own. But with the other ones going forward, you're able to summon another like NPC to help you throughout the game. And they tend to tank a lot of the hits for you, and also they keep aggro on the boss, so that way you can, heal up and then also deal your damage, do all your heavy hits while the boss is focusing on them. But sometimes they like to switch it up a bit. But then you have games like Demon's Souls, where it's not so easy, because as you know, if you die in that game, your health gets halved. But they don't do that in any recent games that's been out. So, Demon's Souls, I don't know why they bothered to not even update that for the remake, but it's whatever. It's its own kind of game. Of course, you can find things like the ring that helps you with halving your health, but it still makes it challenging. So I guess the more important question is Elden Rings really a difficult game, or do you suck at the game? I know that sounds pretty straightforward. It's either you're good at the game or you suck at it. But if you really break it down and bring out other factors into this, you start to see why some people are saying it is a hard game. Elden Ring on its own is not a hard game, I'll be honest with you. But it is a hard game for casuals. If you don't play these kind of video games, yeah, it's going to be hard. And it's the same thing with any other kind of game that you're not used to, because you got to learn about it. These aren't games that you can just go into, randomly start throwing your sword around and expect to win, because there's strategies involved. You have to learn enemies' patterns. Once you get the hang of that, the game becomes way easier. Now, that doesn't change the fact that the game is still a bit difficult, because it is still a Souls game. But you can make the game a lot easier by learning these patterns. And there are people who are getting frustrated because they're dying super early on in the game, and it's like, you're supposed to die. Don't feel bad about dying so early, because you're supposed to learn from it. And once you learn from it, then you're able to get past it. Now, it's different if you're dying from the same boss and you're not changing up your strategy, you're not trying to learn how he fights, yada, yada, yada. If you're doing that, yeah, you're gonna die, and the game's just gonna be hard for you because you're making it hard for you. But again, you have summons at your disposal. If you really, really want to get past these bosses, just use a summon. No one's gonna complain to you about it, because at the end of the day, it's how you want to play the game. Just don't tell people that you're using summons. And then we have to talk about the new DLC, because a lot of people went into the new DLC complaining about how difficult the game is. And obviously, they're going to scale it up a bit because it is DLC, and they've been advertising this for a while. You have to fight a certain boss to even start the DLC. So a good chunk of people aren't even playing the DLC because they haven't fought this optional boss. So you should probably do that first off. And if you haven't beaten Elden Rings, why are you even playing the DLC in the first place? Go back, beat the game, level up your character, go from there. And obviously you should probably have a build going into this game, because if you're going into these games just doing random stats for your character, you're going to have a hard time. You need to have a certain build for your character that works for you, your playstyle, and then go from there, and the game will be a lot easier. So the question is Elden Rings DLC or Elden Rings as a whole really that hard of a game? And well, to answer that truthfully, it's only as hard as you make it. And that's the honest truth. The game can be very easy or it can be really hard. You have all these options to use, and it's completely up to you if you want to use those options to help you beat the bosses. If you don't, yeah, it's going to be more difficult. Then, we have the other discussion of people complaining because they want an easy mode in the game. To be honest, like I've already been mentioning, there is an easy mode in the game. It's the summons. That's your easy mode. So if you really want an easy mode, just use that. But on the same note, I am personally not opposed to them adding a easy mode to the game just for the people who really don't want to try that hard. They're like coming home from their job and they want to, relax and play a game. Which, first of all, whenever people bring up that argument of, oh, I just came back from my regular 9-to-5 job and I just want to come home, play Elden Rings and beat it. It's like you came home from a long, stressful day and you want to play a very stressful video game in the first place. Dude, that's on you. But no, I completely understand. You're not losing anything if you add an easy mode to this game. And people are complaining like, oh, just get good, or you're sick at the game, learn, which, I kind of agree to a certain extent. But again, there's nothing wrong with adding an easy mode to this game, because those who don't want to play the easy mode do not have to play the easy mode. And if you want to, you can. It's good to have options in these video games to help you, finish the games that you paid for. But on the other hand, if you bought this game knowing that it's a difficult game, that is also on you. So I see the arguments on both sides, and obviously I see the easiest option is just, sure, why not? Add an easy mode into the game. It's literally not gonna hurt anybody. So yes, I see the argument for both sides of this. It's like, add an easy mode or get good. And honestly, I get tired of hearing people say get good at this game, because when I see forums about this and just get good and they don't have a legit answer to people, I'm like, okay, this person's clearly not playing the game, or this person's probably in the same boat as the guy who's been losing all this time. But again, at the end of the day, it literally doesn't hurt anybody. So you can add this option. People who want to play it easy, you get your easy mode. People who want to play it hard, you get your hard mode, or your regular mode, and then just call it a day. But obviously that's just my opinion about this matter, because I don't really see an issue with the difficulty in this game, because it's supposed to challenge you. And it's a good thing, I like challenges. Anyone who knows me knows that I love challenges. So the fact that this DLC is actually pretty hard, yeah, that makes me excited. Also, on a side note, I just want to mention some other Souls-like games if you guys want to, get some practice in before you try to play Elden Rings. You guys could try Lies of P. Honestly, that's really fun, and there's a story involved into it. So I like story into video games, so having a Souls-like game with a good story, that's a win-win for me. Another one is Stellar Blade. That game got a lot of controversy when it first came out because of some obvious reasons, but the game is really good and it is also challenging, so I would try that out as well. You also have Lords of the Fallen, which, by the way, Lords of the Fallen and Lies of P is also on Game Pass, so you guys don't have to spend any money to try those games out. And lastly, another game that I want to mention is Code Vein, and this one is a really good game for, a lot of anime fans, because it's a Souls-like game, but in an anime style, and it's also really fun and challenging. I would highly suggest trying those out. But anyways, guys, what have you guys been playing recently? And also, what is one game that you're mostly looking forward to? I know for me, personally, is Monster Hunter Wilds, because I'm a big Monster Hunter fan. So I'm really looking forward to playing that, and yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to the channel. Let me know down in the comment section below what games you guys are playing, or what are your thoughts on if Elden Rings is too hard or if it's easy. So, I will see you guys in the next one.
Sunway review, take me on a cinematic journey through the highs and the lows. You bring movies to